Hi everybody, this is Greg Suddy on Soccer. I've got the heavy hitters of MASLW here with me. I've got Chris and I've got Brian and I've got Josh, and I really appreciate you guys joining me here from Des Moines, Iowa for the MASLW playoffs. Pretty exciting going on there today, right? Let me
a fewer words. No, it's look, we're excited to be here, Greg. As I said today,
I've got you guys.
at the press conference.
There we go. Yeah. So pretty.
Okay, I'll shut up.
Can you hear us, Greg?
There's a delay.
So I've got some glitches going on in my studio. Yeah, I can hear you fine. So I do have some glitches going on right now, so everything's running a little slow. So be patient with me. I don't know what the deal is, but let me do a quick advert, and we'll get started.
Okay.
What is he doing? No. I mean, can you hear us?
Yeah, you can hear us. You said there's like this little layer.
There it is. Hi, Greg Study on Soccer is sponsored by Auden Technologies. Auden Technologies will take care of your security camera, alarm systems, all the way up to your servers and networks. Auden Technologies operates primarily out of the Midwest and the Northeast. You can contact Auden Technologies on their website at INFILLC, that's infillc.com, or email at Josh Auden or J Auden, JAUDEN at infillc.com. I want to thank Auden Technologies for sponsoring Study on Soccer. And for those of you that don't know, that man on the screen right there is Josh Auden. He's the man himself that's been sponsoring Study on Soccer for this whole season, and I really do appreciate your help, buddy. It's been fun.
No,
it's been a lot of fun, Josh, because I've been able to talk to M3, MW, M2, MASL players, coaches, everybody. It's been a lot of fun.
It's good to hear.
Talk to us a little bit about what's going on. Let me first take a minute and give us a little bit of some accommodations and some notice to the list of first team and second team MASLW All-Stars this season. Sylvia Elisario from the Chihuahua Savage, Isabella Puccinelli from the Wichita Luck, Kenny Essler from Dallas, Kayla Addison from Detroit City, Nelly Ramos from Chihuahua, Gabrielle Shriver from Detroit. That's the first team. The second team is Macy Reap. Let's see. Arianelle Clifton from Omaha, Michaela Morgan from ICT, Sam Kayla from Kalamazoo, Valerie Macias from Chihuahua, and Courtney Burnett from Dallas. This has been a pretty exciting season for the first year out. What do you guys have to say about how it's turned out?
Good. Well, I mean, thank you for having us on, Greg. This is my first year being involved with the women, and to say it was fantastic would be an understatement. Tremendous job by all the ladies, in every sense of the word. Obviously, some great soccer, but just as important, organizationally, they did very, very well. There's potential. There's great potential with this league. We already have had numerous people approach us about putting teams in next year, and we haven't even scratched the surface yet with numerous M1 teams and M2 teams, and I'm sure we'll have interest. So great first season, and as I said at today's very well attended press conference, we had four TV stations there. All the affiliates were here, and Des Moines is the mecca of the indoor soccer world this weekend, and then on the weekend of the 12th and 13th. This is where we'll be hosting our M2 finals also. Right. So we're excited to be here, and it's been a great first year.
Yeah, and some of the play has been outstanding, and the girls are showing a lot of enthusiasm out there on the field themselves. I watched a brief interview around the arena today, and one of the guys was running around and he was picking up on some of the stars, mostly from the Des Moines team because it was a local broadcast. But those ladies seem to be pretty excited about being a part of this. You guys have put together an outstanding organization.
Yeah, I mean, this is the best of the best here. By far, my opinion, it's the best league. It's the best women's league in the country. We had 22 teams this past season, and I mean, these are the best players in the world. I mean, the Chihuahua team is mostly the Mexican World Mini Football League national team, and then obviously the Cincinnati Sirens with Craig Rodas has a huge influx of the American players, and then the other girls are spread out on various teams. But it's the best of the best, and we've been looking forward to this for quite a few weeks now. So, like I said, we're just thrilled to be here.
Well, one of the things that I find interesting, there was. Am I correct? There were 3 teams from Wichita, or just 2?
There were 3. The Aztecs were moving here.
I mean, that's.
And then obviously the Lady Luck, who had a tremendous first season, and then the Wichita Arrows.
Yeah.
And I was out there for a weekend, and I saw all 3 teams, and I mean, they all did a fantastic job. They all streamed their games. This is the first step in a journey, and but all 3 teams were very competitive. Obviously, the Aztecs made it here, and 3 very well-run organizations.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the teams that made it there. The quarterfinals today. Let me see if I get this right. Dallas is playing Cincinnati, and the Demon Hawks are playing the ICT Aztecs from Wichita. Is that what the schedule is for today's games?
That's Brian Cushing's directive there.
That would be correct, Greg.
Okay, Brian. Hi, Brian. It's good to see you, buddy.
Good to see you.
But then that's not the end of it, because there's 2 teams in the waiting, right? There's 2 teams that are waiting. They have the bye. So Des Moines and Chihuahua both have the bye, waiting for the outcome of today's games.
Detroit.
Oh, I'm sorry, Detroit and Chihuahua. Right, that's right. So those 2 teams are sort of sitting, sort of going to be scouting and evaluating these 2 games today.
That is correct.
Okay. And then how does the schedule work? There's games today, tomorrow, and then a final?
Yeah, so tomorrow will be the semifinals.
Wow.
Detroit will play the lowest remaining seed.
Okay.
And then Chihuahua will play the other team, and then the 2 winners will meet on Sunday for the championship game.
Wow.
Where we will crown our inaugural MASLW champion.
That is so exciting. I mean, it really is exciting, and it's been a great season. I have been unable to watch too many of the games, although I picked up a few, and it's been an elevated level of play. I mean, I have to say, these ladies are playing hard. They're playing well, and one of the things I want to make an observation that I want to see how you guys respond to this observation. One of the problems I think in American fans' outlook towards outdoor soccer, particularly, is the diving. A little bit of touch and the guy goes to the ground, rolls halfway down the field, trying to get that penalty or that foul. And a lot of American fans look at that, they can, come on, guys. And then on the indoor game, not quite so much. But man, the ladies don't do that. The women don't play that game. When they take the hit and keep on going.
Yeah. Now the women, they come to play, and that's what they want to do. You're not going to see, flopping has become part of the game a little bit, but the women, they play through that stuff, and they want to play hard, and they want to play a good game.
Yeah, Greg, just to expand on the schedule, every game will be streamed live, quality broadcast with the Iowa Demon Hawk Broadcast Network on YouTube. 6:00 this evening.
Okay.
Will be the Cincinnati Sirens and RPFC. And then at 8:30 will be the Iowa Demon Hawks against the ICT Aztecs. This is all Central Time. And then tomorrow it's 4:30 and 7:30. The two semifinals. And then Sunday at 2 p.m.
Wow. And they're all going to be on the same Iowa Demon Hawks YouTube network.
Correct.
They're all going to be on the same Iowa Demon Hawks YouTube network. That is outstanding. And it's really exciting too that you guys have scheduled it for this weekend, because it's not going to have. I mean, MASL3, I guess MASL3 and MASL are going to be playing sort of side by side during the playoffs for those two divisions next weekend in San Diego, and the MASL2 is not going to be. Is MASL2 going to be in Iowa? Yeah, it is. It's going to be in Des Moines as well.
Yeah, that'll be Saturday, the April 12th, and Sunday, April the 13th.
The MASL3 games, playoff games, where are they going to be? Are they in Des Moines as well?
Yeah, they're going to be in Salisbury, Maryland, and all those games.
There we go.
Yeah, they'll be streamed live on the local TV station here called Delmarva Sports Network.
Okay.
So we'll be in Delmarva next weekend. We're weekend warriors here.
No kidding.
So those games will all be streamed live, and it's all of our broadcasters are going to be phenomenal. So they're all on, nationally capable networks. So we're thrilled with all of our finals this year.
And that's the home of the Salisbury Steaks, yeah?
Correct. Arguably my favorite name as a franchise.
No kidding. That really is a classic. Yeah, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right?
Well, I mean, when Josh was naming the team there, he asked my opinion. I said, well, you don't get a body like this by not eating Salisbury steaks. So I said, in my eyes, it's got to be Salisbury steaks all day. And that's what they did.
That's outstanding.
Wasn't my call, but yeah.
So I've got a question for you guys. One of the fans is asking here, next season, are you going to add more regular season games? Do you have you had any talk about that yet?
You know what? And I don't mean to hog the show or the conversation here, Greg, but that's entirely up to the owners.
Okay.
I mean, we're there to serve the owners, and whatever they want. If they want to play a couple more games, I mean, I'd be all for it. But again, it's up to the teams, and so we'll see. We're going to have wrap-up meetings after the season with all three leagues and sort of get a pulse as to what we're doing next year. But yeah, so it's totally up to the owners and the teams.
Well, one of the things I appreciated, although the seasons for all three of those leagues, the W2 and 3, although the number of games were somewhat lower, of course, than M1, but they played out through about the same period of calendar time. So there was a stretch of time between some of those games and allowed for healing, injury, or any other things that were able to get those teams playing and moving, and of course they're also more regional, so they're traveling by bus and that kind of thing. I really appreciated how, even though the number of games were less, the period of time was about the same as the first division.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm hogging the show here. All right.
It's all right.
Well, that's done because look, we get a very limited number of home dates available, so that when you have that 4 or 5 month period, it allows us to schedule all the teams with literally all the dates that they need and want. So yeah, it's worked out pretty well. I mean, obviously the MASL schedules 24 games in the same time frame, and we're playing 12 M2 and 10 M3 and MASLW games in the same time frame. So it makes the scheduling much easier. Yeah,
and far less, if any, of the issues that the M1 teams have to do with back-to-back schedules, traveling the day after to play the next day. A lot of that happens in M1, but the MW and M3, they're not having to do that very much, if at all.
Well, hey, I remember the old NPSL days when it was 3 games in 3 nights. So, watch out. That's coming.
I do too, Chris. I remember those days as well. That's and it's interesting because things have changed so much, haven't they? I mean, I don't want to steer this conversation towards the first division play, but on that note, it's interesting how not so much the players, but the fans seem to complain a whole bunch about, my team has to play back-to-back games, and with no memory whatsoever of the fact that not only did they have to play 3 games, but they had to play 3 games in 3 different cities. I mean, it was crazy.
Look, I was there, and I was an owner in Kansas City with the Attack in the in the early 90s. And, we'd be in KC on a Friday, then in Milwaukee on a Saturday, and then Dayton on a Sunday, but you know what? I think like with the player these days, I think they're quicker, faster, probably not as skilled. I mean, nobody greater than like a Hector Marinero or Zoran Karic or Chico Borja in Wichita. I mean, a whole host of players, but it's a different day and age now. So and I still stay in contact with Hector. He's down in Bradenton and working for IMG, and and now I'm getting nostalgic. But those were the good old days.
Yeah, those were the fun old days. But today, what we've got to segue back into the conversation, today what we've got is a pyramid. And that pyramid didn't exist back in the day and hasn't existed until very recently. And it's exciting to see the game of indoor soccer being spread out, because everywhere you guys are playing in M2, M3, MW, everywhere you guys are playing is introducing the game to a new group of fans, and that is exciting. Talk a little bit about that, guys.
Well, I mean, this promotion, and I get the promotion relegation in a second. I mean, this is not possible if not for Brian and Josh here. When they approached Keith and I over the course of the summer to bring in these whole host of teams, it was a no-brainer, and it's turned out to be a really good partnership. And I know there's been a lot of talk, especially with USL doing it about promotion relegation.
Right.
We're in talks now about doing that. Not so much with with M2 to M1, but more so between M2, M3, and then, as I said earlier on, I think MASLW has been phenomenal. He's got a very, very bright future. But, I mean, Josh can sort of add to that from his perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking a little bit about the promotion relegation, but also, too, you mentioned the growth for fans and getting out there and getting the game to reach new, areas and stuff. And I think it's actually coming along, and it's showing that a lot of our group followings have exploded with growth. As Chris mentioned earlier, we're bringing in a lot of new teams hopefully next year. We have a ton of interest in the MASLW league, and as well as M3, the growth in that. We've had a lot of new interested parties reaching out to the league to try to join. So we're building, and it's a very bright future for both leagues here.
Yeah, Josh, you and I have spoken before, and we're probably covering some conversation that we had in the past, but just to rehash on some of that, what is the difference involved from an ownership standpoint of putting together an M3 team as opposed to an M2 team, and what's involved in that kind of move if a team from M3 wants to move to M2?
So I'll let Chris answer the M3 to M2 options, since he's been with the M2 for a while now. So,
yeah, I mean, first of all, we go through a vetting process, and it's not anything extensive. I mean, the recipe for disaster in the past, as we've all have learned, it has to be properly financed and capitalized.
Okay.
So we do a little bit of vetting. We do a little bit of I want to see a business plan from a from a potential new investor. And then we do a little bit of background checking to make sure that he's not a serial killer or anything. But that's essentially the process. And then we got to look at from an M2 perspective, since we have standards now. He's got to be able to play in a quasi arena. It doesn't have to be Madison Square Garden, but it can't be a rec center. So M3 and MW. They're both what sort of liken it to, Greg, is where M2 was 4 or 5 years ago when we started M2.
Right.
So, and look at tremendous strides this year. I think eventually we may be seeing MASLW split off into M1 and M2 because
Very
again,
cool.
we're going to have a lot of interest from, I think from M1 and M2 teams. But essentially, that's the main difference. And I think as soon as next year, you may start to see the eventual M3 champion being granted the ability, if they meet the criteria, granted a free franchise to jump up to M2.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. So again, and all this again without Brian and Josh's help and bringing these teams to the table would have never been possible. And just for the record, when you see my good friend Keith Tozer next weekend,
yes,
Keith and I speak fairly regularly. He was just in Clearwater, and I missed him. But Keith has been the most ardent and supportive commissioner. He's been fantastic to work with. And trust me when I tell you that without Keith Tozer, we'd be nowhere near where we are now.
Yeah, that's exciting to know. I agree. I love Keith, and I love what has happened in the league, top to bottom, as he's been there. I'm not a big fan of some of the rule changes, but those are just minor things that don't really, for me anyway, they don't affect the play on the field, and that's what matters to me, is keeping the game solvent as what it's been and what we've all fallen in love with. But
let me ask you a question, Greg.
Keith.
Let me ask you a question, Greg. You're probably a purist, so I know where I'm going with this thing. And not that we're contemplating it, but what would you think about going back to the old NPSL 2 and 3 point goals?
Oh, you got to be kidding me! No, never. No, never.
Okay. I knew where that was headed. I know.
No, in fact, that's a whole new conversation. But I got one. I only have one real serious response to that, and that is that soccer in all varieties, all around the world, in every case, no matter what, it's 1 goal, 1 point. And that's and for me, that's just sort of kind of the end of it. Yeah, but no, please don't.
No,
Please
no,
don't.
you're in the majority, and there's nothing on the horizon.
Oh shoot! I just got shivers down my spine.
Look, at all kidding aside, I mean, seriously, I don't know if you're thanked enough, but what you do for arena soccer goes beyond. I mean, you have just been a tremendous asset to our sport. You're to be commended. And a personal thank you from all three of us, because I think you bring tremendous people seeing our sport, and you are just a true ambassador to the sport, my friend.
I appreciate that, Chris. I'll tell you what my biggest difficulty is. My biggest difficulty is trying to find a venue, a location, and a way. I mean, I'm doing it to a certain extent, but it's really not anywhere near what I'd like. Is to connect with people that don't already know the sport. It's one thing to talk to all of us that already know and love the game, but to be able to be seen and reach out to the people that don't already know the sport and introduce them to it, and just sort of, it's like, come on and just take it in, watch it on TV or go to one game and see what you like and see what you think. Because I've always been the advocate that if you go to the game, you'll fall in love. If you like athletics, if you like sport, and you go to an indoor soccer game, you're going to fall in love with it. And that's always.
It's ironic that you say that, because in my 35 years of doing this, I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've heard, wow, I didn't know that this even existed.
Right.
You come to a first game and they're hooked. I mean, I've heard it, and not to get off track here, but I think with the great job that that Keith and JP De La Creme are doing with getting that CBS Sports Galazzo contract. No, I think with that, and I think with all this, this day and age, with all the social media, which I am totally useless with, but fortunately from Josh and Brian's perspective, and Brian Ackley, who's been unbelievable from our staff, and then Andrea, how do you say your last name again?
Oh, don't put me on the spot.
Procurato,
yep.
Very, very nice young lady that I just met here. Look, at the sport's come a long way, Greg. And hopefully I'll be around to see some of the fruits of our labor, but it's growing. But going back to your point, yes, it's a great sport. Obviously, we're biased. But just come out to a game, because wow, this is great. I don't know this existed. Anyways,
mentioning Andrea, Josh, didn't I have Andrea on my show here a couple of months ago?
Yeah, you had her on there. She's our captain for the Nighthawks. And she helps
that's
out with, social media.
Yeah, what a great young lady. I wanted to talk to Brian for a minute. I just want to ask Brian and you too, Josh. I want to ask you guys, how has the fan support been for your guys' teams?
For the teams that we're involved with?
Yes.
So in Houston, I help out with Houston Bolt, and this was the first year that we've added women to the program. It's something we've talked about for a while, and then we just felt it was time to do it. And I love my guys to death. I will tell you, though, adding the women was like a breath of fresh air. They have been the greatest joy and a delight to be in our organization with the Houston Bolt. I've never seen a group of young ladies come together and bond as one as they have. I don't know, part of it's probably the trip they had to Chihuahua, where they went there, and they're staying for a few days in another country. But those ladies are committed. They show up with smiles on their faces. They leave with smiles on their faces. They do events together on the weekend. They're always trying to promote the team, the league. They're trying to be involved in the community. I mean, completely the opposite of where the guys currently are for our team. Not that our guys don't do those things, but not at the excitement and the joy that the ladies do. So total breath of fresh air. And I think that as they continue to evolve, the city of Houston will continue to embrace them more and more.
Yeah, there's something to that. There's just a different energy. I was associated with one of the minor league women's teams here in San Diego, outdoor team, and for a couple of seasons, and I was taken aback. I mean, I really was. There's a different energy among the players, among the camaraderie. I mean, everybody's got. Look, you're dealing with athletes, right? So. I mean, there's egos no matter where you go. There's always going to be egos, but it doesn't. That sort of I don't know. The egos don't seem to play a part as much. The chemistry seems to gel a little easier, maybe. I don't know. It's something sort of intangible from my point of view, but there's just something different about the female teams, the ladies teams, isn't there?
Yeah, no, it's I can't tell you how many times. And I joke with the ladies all the time. I feel like we have a birthday on the team every week. But there are the countless times post game that one of those ladies has brought in a birthday cake, and it's got candles on it because somebody's birthday. I think they made our coach cry because they brought him a cake for his birthday, and he wasn't expecting it. I've seen the ladies, post one of their games, and then the guys are getting ready to play. They'll be down there watching the guys' game, and then they start doing line dances and getting people to line dance with them in the middle of the guys' game. Like, the energy they bring and the joy it's a different level, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, that is such a cool report, Brian. Thanks, man. Josh, talk to me about the support of your community for your team.
Yeah, well, this year was our 11th season for the men, so we've kind of been a staple in the area where we play. We're a little bit in the middle of nowhere, so we have a pretty good following. We always have great support at our games. Our women, adding the women's team, so we had the women's for 2 years now. We did it before, I think in 2018 we had a season, but this was like the first real year as a full team. And as Brian said, they just bring such a great atmosphere, adding a women's team to your program. It's awesome that we're able to have our game schedule is our women play at 7 and then our men follow right after. So our fans get in for a discounted rate if you're watching both games, and it helps draw and build the organization up. And it's also great, like I said, it builds the women's built a great atmosphere, and then the men too. This is our 11th season. Still can't believe we've been doing it since 2014 here. So, but it's been a journey, and it's been a great one.
Yeah, that's exciting. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on in Des Moines today. Do you guys have any idea what kind of a crowd they're expecting for the games today?
Chris, how many tickets is Darwin said today?
Yeah, as of excuse me, as of about noon today, when I spoke with our good friend Darwin Salas, the owner here, they were closely approaching 2,000 tickets sold. So,
wow, that's outstanding. That's great.
Well, that's what I told him. He wasn't happy with that. I said, "What are you kidding me? That's great."
Yep. Yeah. And he's also running a promotion tonight for the schools, the local high schools and middle schools. If they bring their school ID, they can get in free to the game tonight. So I'm sure that'll help boost numbers too as well tonight.
Wow, that's smart. Well done. Well done. All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys get going. Brian, Josh, Chris, I'm so excited. Thanks, Josh, for bringing these two all-stars along with you. That's really, really fun to talk to you guys. Hopefully I'll get to see Josh and Chris. I don't think I've met you guys personally, but hopefully we get to have a chance to do that sometime soon. I will definitely extend the love to Keith, Chris, when I see him this weekend. Because
I just want to add, Greg, that's the most I've heard Brian talk in the year that I've known him. So I mean, that's good for you for having him open up a little bit.
Nice. Well, I really do appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming on today. I made this a little bit of an abbreviated session because I know you guys are busy and have a lot going on, and I really appreciate you, the three of you, taking the time and joining me today. Seriously, Brian, Josh, Chris, all you guys, love and respect. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of you. A little bit of an extra touch of love to Josh for his sponsorship of the show.
6 p.m. tonight, 6 p.m. Central, RPFC in Cincinnati, followed by 8:30 Central, the ICT Aztecs and the Iowa Demon Hawks, live from Buccaneer Arena in beautiful sunny 70-degree Des Moines, Iowa.
Okay, so once again, and once again, that's 6 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Central Time. Dallas playing Cincinnati in the first game, Iowa playing the ICT Aztecs in the second game. All that's going to be broadcast on the Iowa Demon Hawks YouTube channel, and I'll definitely be taking in the game. I'm going to a meet and greet for the soccer, so this afternoon, so I'll probably be watching on my phone, but I'll definitely be tuning in.
Hey, last thing, great job on those Soccers 2 broadcasts, Greg. You've got a career as a broadcaster, trust me.
Really, thank you.
And I'm being sincere.
Thank you. Wow, I appreciate that, because as you know, I've done different kinds of broadcasts now and then, but I've never done play-by-play. And this was play-by-play season without anybody helping me out in the booth. I didn't have a color commentator other than my son is on the camera. So my son and I sort of talk to my son while I'm trying to pretend to be talking to somebody. But I really do appreciate that, Chris. I haven't heard any feedback.
No, all kidding aside, I might watch all the games, as many as I can, and you did a great job, Greg. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you guys once again. Go down there and root on your squads, and thanks for bringing the MASLW to the fans and to the streams. Really appreciate it, guys. That's pretty exciting. Yeah. What a cast. What a cast. Brian and Josh and Chris. What a cast of guys. Love and respect all three of those a lot. Thanks very much for watching today. A little bit of an abbreviated show, but those guys are in Des Moines. They took time out to help us out and to come on screen with us today. And we really appreciate their being on the show with us today. So thanks for everybody for watching, and we'll see you again soon.